went into the carriage, and I definitely think I took a pause. I definitely had a pause and looked around and realised, like, no, what is this? I'm looking at 6 people that have died. I couldn't do anything more for them.
It was blast injuries, so amputations, so loss of arms, loss of legs. I've not been to a war zone, but much more what I would imagine our armed forces medics see when they're out in war zones.
I felt quite scared that we were in London, in a vulnerable place. The ambulance control room could be a target as well.
It was clear pretty early on that it was a deliberate act of terror, and the days afterwards certainly changed as a result of that. Arguably everything changed as a result of what happened in July 2005.
The first call came into our control room at 8:52 in the morning on the 7th of July 2005.
It just seemed like an ordinary call at first. It was the fire brigade on the phone telling us that there had been some kind of explosion at Liverpool Street. They thought it was a power surge. I just took the information down and passed it on like I would with any, moved on to the next call.
Initially we thought, or we believed, that there were 10 sites we were dealing with, people, patients, emerging from both ends of the tube train in the tunnels, coming out at 2 different stations. So a very confused picture, rapidly changing and attempting to make sense of it all.
What struck me really again was the noise, the lack of noise. It was very quiet, and all you could really hear was mobile phones pinging and ringing. There was no screaming, there was no shouting. It's actually really eerily calm, eerily quiet. So quick check of each patient and try to work out who I can help. Could you try to do the most for the most? So we heard a whistle and we could hear a firefighter shouting, everyone get out, relieve secondary device. I'm looking at him over the top of these 2 people sitting to my right, who I've just spoken to, and I told them it's okay, I'll take care of you, we're going to get you out of here. And I was just like, well, I can't go. I've told them I'm going to stay with them. I'll stay until you go, and I'll stay.
Well, we dispatched officers to the scene, as did the Met, as did the City of London. We then had a quick breather as we sat down to see what we've got. Who's gone where, what's happening right now. And then with that, there was an explosion. I'd never heard an explosion before, but everybody knew. And the debris from the bus was literally landing on the roof of our building.
3 bombs went off in the tunnels, and the bus bomb in Tavistock Square exploded an hour later.
We didn't know if there were going to be more bombs, and so it was also checking the people who were coming in to make sure we didn't have a bomber walking through the door in amongst the walking wounded.
The types of injuries we were beginning to see, the reports we were getting back from our people that went into the tunnels, into the tube trains, and of course, they went in there not knowing what they were going to face and saw some really, really difficult stuff.
For me, the most important thing was that they knew that the patients knew, they could hear people saying they were safe, they were away, that they were being taken to hospital, that their family would be contacted and come to them. And that was as important probably as the pain relief that we could give them.
Suddenly this eerie quiet set in. There weren't any calls to take. That night I was driven home by someone because there was no public transport, and I actually went past Aldgate Station seeing the remains of the response, things cordoned off. That kind of brought it home to see that it was real and you could see it.
It was really quite interesting how we got a grip on those scenes, as I say, brought order from chaos and let the capital get on in the middle of the worst attack we've ever seen.
We treated more than 400 patients. We had our people in the tunnels until the last surviving passenger was out. The London Ambulance Service now, 20 years after 7/7, is in a really different place. We've learnt so much from over those 20 years. I think there's so much more of a focus now in ensuring that we do have the plans and the preparedness in place in readiness to respond to these types of incidents. We practice with our partners, we practice within our control room, we practice with our staff, our frontline staff, so that when they do have to respond to this type of incident, they feel confident in being able to do that and are able to deliver the best patient care they can at a time when it's so challenging for everybody.
I think that the shock and the enormity of it probably was when you get home and you see it all coming together on the news and you realise what you've been involved in, and just hope that you've made a tiny bit of difference to somebody or somebody's family. And then a lot of time thinking afterwards, could I have done more?
It's important to reflect back and remember the victims, those who sadly lost their lives, their families, those which were injured, and of course our people that went in and responded with bravery and courage. But it's also important to remember the pride that we have in the response that we gave, the great care that we provided to patients, those that we saved and made a real difference to for the rest of their lives.
And like so many people in all walks of life, you know, when the challenge was on, they all stepped up to do their job.
Everyone came together and realised it's an attack on one's attack on all. So everyone kind of stepped up and gathered round and took care of each other.